This is Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors and the American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. Let's hear from the Community Associations Institute. This CAI Minute is brought to you by Start to Finish Maintenance Contractors. Start to Finish provides 24-hour service for all of your home and business maintenance needs. Call Start to Finish at 952-259-1219 for your home, for your business, for your peace of mind.
Are you a volunteer in your homeowner association? Maybe a residential property manager wanting to increase your industry knowledge and obtain professional credentials in property management. Are you a vendor or professional offering services to homeowners and associations or property managers? If you said yes to any one of those questions, then join the Community Association Institute. The CAI is a great organization, helping you be informed and more proficient in your homeowner association board member or property manager role. It's also a great way to network with potential clients. For nearly 40 years, CAI has provided education and resources to volunteer homeowners who govern community associations and the professionals who support them. Visit cai-mn.com to learn more. That's cai-mn.com. The Minnesota chapter of CAI holds monthly managers' luncheons, board member education training, property manager certification training, and much more. It also produces a bi-monthly informative magazine called Minnesota Community Living. Why not join the Community Association Institute today? You can do so online at cai-mn.com and select membership.
So we've been talking about a news story out of Green Acres, Florida, and our story so far, John and Pat Buckles love nature, and they planted native Florida plants around their home, which is located in the Cloisters Senior Community, a homeowners association. They did this because the Buckholzes love to see the birds and the butterflies. That are attracted by these plants.
Certainly understand and can appreciate that,
Problem is they butted up against the rules and the property owned by the association,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm. And it came to a head when Mr. Buckholz decided to stand between the plants that were going to be removed from the vendor that was asked to remove these plants. And because he wouldn't, they weren't going to just push their way through. They told the property manager. They talked to the police. The police came. Mr. Buckles said something in a joking way, but ended up having police reinforcement, and then he ended up being handcuffed.
He was arrested, yeah.
And we tried to have Mr. Buckles on the show today, but his attorney said, between now and then when things get settled, he could not, but he would be happy to come
and
on
give us
the
an
show.
update. He's going to appear in court on June 26th, and his attorney advised him not to talk about it prior to that, but he'd be happy to talk to us afterwards. So what is the issue here, Gene? What does this illustrate? This issue.
There's a couple of other pieces I was able to glean from the story in that, and that is that Mr. Buckles was a former board member himself.
Okay, of the association.
Yeah. And we do know from the story that this was something that took place for a number of years.
Okay.
So there's been a disagreement. There's nothing new there, is there, with a homeowner association? People will be on the board, off the board. People will have differing views of opinion on architectural control in their community, what should be allowed, what shouldn't be allowed.
Things may change over time.
And things will change. The issue here is that perhaps there was some inconsistency with what some people have been allowed to keep over the years. Other people weren't allowed to keep, and so that causes people to get to dig in their heels a little bit and say this isn't fair.
Sure. And
I think there may have been a little bit of that going on here with the Buckholes. At the end of the day, though, people living in a homeowner association in a community like this, they need to understand that we are represented by laws, by rules.
Mm-hmm.
We're a society of laws,
Uh-huh.
and that is why things run so well. There's a law. You stop and think about it. Someone told me this years ago, but the only thing that keeps you and another vehicle from veering straight on into you when you're driving on a 2-lane road is this little painted line in the middle, because there's a law that people understand and it makes sense. And because the law's in place and it makes sense, do you have to have a lot of enforcement? No, a lot of people see that's a good law.
Sure, because otherwise you're going to kill yourself.
Exactly.
If you hit that other car.
And
that would be the reason I wouldn't cross over.
But the point I'm trying to make is that
some are easy to understand and easy to adhere to. Some,
exactly.
Yeah,
in a homeowners association, here you have someone who's saying, my wife and I would enjoy looking at this in the morning. And I can understand and appreciate that. But they recognized, and the story brought out the fact that this part of the lawn, this part of the real estate, was owned jointly with all of the other owners in the community.
It was an association property. And I want to mention, this wasn't just arbitrary from the association. They needed to clear those plants along the fence so that they could get to the fence to perform maintenance. And also because Florida Power and Light Company has an easement. Along that
and
fence.
They will need from time to time. They need to get in there.
Legitimate reasons that they needed to clear out plantings.
Yes, that's a very good point. Think of the easement the utility companies have when it comes to trees, and you look at trees and you look up. There's this huge area that's cut out
because the wires go through there.
You need that for that easement, and so that's needed here. But Mr. Buckles felt that his enjoyment of this was greater than that of the association's authority to move forward with this.
Yeah. Mr. Buckholz is a pretty stubborn guy. He served on the board. I would have to believe he fully understands the community association and the rules and regulations, but he's going to hold his ground anyway. He even acknowledged he knows that property is owned by the community in a communal association, and he still doesn't want to comply.
Yeah, a couple things that the story brought out, and I don't know if it's true. That's why I wanted to chat with him too. In the story, it says that Mr. Buckles compared himself to Rosa Parks taking a stand
for what is right,
and I wanted to see if that's something that he said. I certainly respect someone and what they want to do, but boy, in our conversation, do we need to go to such stark contrasts and icons and to say that your ability to plant and look at flowers is the same as what Rosa Parks went through? I'm sorry, but in all due respect,
this issue does not seem equivalent to racial discrimination.
No,
he may be talking about butterfly discrimination, but as far as I know, butterflies are not a protected class yet.
And unfortunately, what happens in discourse in trying to share and to move forward your point, I think a person loses credibility when they use names as a contrast. We talk about the people on the show refer to boards as Nazis, right?
Yes, and then they lose credibility doing that because it's extreme.
And here you have it in the opposite, the same thing too.
He's gone to an extreme with this.
One of the things that's interesting that the article brings out at the very end, the property manager was interviewed and said, "We've been working with the Buckholes for years on this issue, and we have been more than happy to relocate the plants." So if the concern was, Mr. Buckholes and Mrs. Buckholes, we know that you appreciate the environment and you want to encourage butterflies and the environment that way, we will help relocate them so that can continue on. It just won't happen right here.
In front of your house or by your house.
And the bottom line is when you purchase a homeowners association, you're giving up some of your rights, and you're saying it's not just you, but the other 78, the other 150 members who also have a say in the common areas that you jointly share.
In this case, it's pretty direct. You gave up your right to plant whatever you wanted to in exchange for the fact that someone else is going to mow your lawn, trim the shrubs, and take care of the grounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so hopefully in another week or two, we might be able to get the Buckholzes on the show. It would be great.
I'd be interested to find out what happens.
I would, to see what happens, and also to see how accurate it is with the story that was given, too. Well, hey, folks, we're going to take a break right now. Don't go away. There's a lot more of Where You Live with Gene and Tony after this.